Howdy y'all, you got the Bulldog on the channel. Here's the lesson on go ahead and do your regular diagnostics because customer can be wrong through no fault of their own really. This customer came in, dropped his car off, said, I've got a bad wheel bearing. I know it's a wheel bearing, I know what they sound like. Okay. And he does know what a bad wheel bearing sound like. He had a Toyota that we couldn't get a good wheel bearing for it. We went through every brand. They all would start howling after 3 or 4 months. Some of them days. So he was used to the sound of a howling wheel bearing. And he replaced that car after a while with a little early 2000s Buick Century. You know, they're a decent car. And he came in here, he called last week and said, hey, I've got a bad wheel bearing on this car. Okay, bring her on in. We'll check it out. He brought it in, we checked it out. Called him up. Hey, you don't have a bad wheel bearing. What? But it sits there and howls going down the road. Yep. Sounds just like a bad wheel bearing. Yep. What is it? Motor mount. No, it can't be. You noticed it when you're going down the highway and it was howling like that. When you let off the foot feed, it quit. Yeah? Well, it's torque dependent. It's not speed dependent. You put the engine in the right torque band and it has a moaning noise. The moaning noise is because your engine is twisting and grounding the exhaust up against the car. It makes a horrible noise. And you see the light bulb go off. Yeah, that's what that is. He hadn't even thought about that. Well, we look up the time in the book. It's quite a bit. It's supposed to tuck the exhaust and everything off. I'm about there with it right now. You gotta raise the motor up a little bit. And of course, I took the transmission jack home to work on another one. And now we're sitting here without it and in need. But I took my big honking pry bar and just levered the engine up and stuck a block under here. Levered the engine up and stuck a block under here. Levered the engine up and stuck a block under here. And then I had to put some strain on it to lever the engine up and stick a block under here. Now I pulled the old mount out, and with the thing all floppy, I was able to pop it out without much trouble. But this one here, it was nice and stout, so I had to leave this bracket off, drop the mount in place, put the bracket on there. Now I gotta reach in there and tighten the bolts up, but that's fine. Here's his mount. This is a lesson in why you fix your leaks. Oil leaks did this. These engines were famous for the corners of the intakes leaking, usually coolant, but oil also. They would have valve covers leaking, the oil pressure sending unit sitting right up there. You get a leak, and if you don't fix it right away, it just leaks down and leaks down and leaks down. And this thing sits in a well. So it just catches stuff and holds it. You might have a puddle of oil or a puddle of antifreeze that it's setting in. So that oil soaks up into the rubber and gets to where the whole thing's moving around. Now it has a lock. It can't come completely apart. This bolt here is basically a U-bolt tight deal. It goes down to a strap. It's all mounted in rubber. And then they set it down in the hole and they put this pin across it so the mount can't pull completely apart. There's no way. But it can move an awful lot, and it was. you put torque on that motor and the engine would scoot over 1.5 inches. So think outside the box a little bit when you're doing your diagnostic. Could be completely unrelated, but causing it. It's just a thought. Like, comment, subscribe, hit your little bell notification. Share it all around. We'll talk to you later.